This game was part of the Henchman Hardcore mini-tournament. You can pause and read the rules, but briefly. You have 20 soul stones to spend on a crew, and you must take 4 models. Crew lists are fixed, and games last 25 minutes, so this is Malifaux on turbo. And if you see mistakes, please bear in mind the frantic pace at which these games get played. The strategy is always extraction, which means you place an informant marker in the centre of the table, and at the end of every turn, including the first, each crew earns 1 victory point if it has 2 or more non-peon models within 6 inches of the marker. The player with the most models within 6 inches of the marker can then move the marker 3 inches for the next turn. The only scheme is Assassinate, so if the enemy leader is killed or sacrificed, you get 2 victory points, and if this happens before turn 4, you score 3 victory points, so you always score 3 in this tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 4th and final game from the Henchman Hardcore mini-tournament. You find me dwelling on a rather exclusive table here, as with 1 draw and 2 losses to my name. Let's just say this isn't table 1. The encounters have been hard fought so far, and I'm a little bit frazzled by this point, so I forgot to take a deployment picture. But as you can see, my Neverborn adopted their standard run for the centre formation. We have my Waldgeist, Young Nephilim Barbaros, and Young Nephilim. My opponent is running another Joss Brigade, and this time the hardy Arcanist is bringing a Hawkcat Pride, something like that, the Cerberus, a Miner, and Joss himself. My cards are as you see here, which is a reasonable hand. I win the initiative and elect to go first. And perhaps that isn't the best tactic in these kind of games, as at such close range, it might work better to let your opponent go first, get into charge range potentially, and have that last activation where, again, things are more likely to be within attacking range, so you can leverage your crew better, particularly if you're an all melee focused crew like mine. Don't know if that's right, just a thought. So yeah, as normal, the tree goes up and drops its forests and goes defensive. And to be honest, I don't know why I bother. They haven't done anything in any of the games in this tournament, and that trend continues in this one. As you see, the Cerberus moves through them and just doesn't care. So one of my young Nephilim moves up and goes defensive, and the centre marker is here, by the way. So you might be wondering why I appear to be putting my models so far away from it. A good question, and one that can be answered by the fact that I've kind of forgotten about the central marker. I've got it into my head that I've just got to kill the leader, and everything will be fine. And once an idea is in my little noggin, I have a hard time of thinking of anything else. So despite the fact I now know what both the objectives are, and despite the fact that I should know by now that I have no chance of beating Joss, just look what I'm trying to do. I'm such a moron. Okay, so my opponent hasn't forgotten about the central objective and has moved his miner up right next to it. I move the second Nephilim even further away from the marker, and he moves his Hawkats right next to it. Barbaros saunters up and goes double defensive, and I eject one of my 2s from my hand. I figure if everyone stays together, I'll have a better chance of taking down at least 1 model, and hopefully that'll be Joss. It's only at this point that I realise how badly I've positioned my forces, and I have to start desperately thinking of a way to get myself out of this situation. Joss takes the bait, because he's realised there's no hook attached to it, and charges Barbaros, keeping out of Black Blood range very cleverly. I think he hits Barbaros from moderate, which I probably soulstone, and then misses, triggering my knock aside. Unfortunately, he's cleverly positioned himself, touching impossible terrain, so the push doesn't move him anywhere. At the end of the turn, we both claim a victory point for having at least 2 models within 6 inches of the central marker, and then my opponent moves it far, far away from me because he has more models near it. As you can see, it's hot to the other side of the miner. Going into turn 2, the Neverborn sees the initiative. Barbaros uses his Nimble to get within Black Blood range of Joss. I think he misses his first attack, hits with the second, and then flips the red Joker for damage. Get him! However, between his +2 armour and a Soulstone damage prevention, I only wind up doing 2 damage to Joss. And I just give up, there's no way I can kill this guy. The Cerberus thing bounds over and wallops Barbaros good, drawing out another Soulstone for damage prevention. The Wildgeist makes its move, rearing to attack the Hawkats. But they're just so cute, so it decides not to attack and to pet them instead. Stupid tree. The miner then activates and does like 3 damage to the tree. That thing can actually pack quite a punch. My young Nephilim flies over everyone's heads to sit next to the miner. The Hawkcat attacks the Wildgeist, but if it did any damage it wasn't a lot. My other young Nephilim says, "Goodbye Barbaros, you're on your own," and also engages the miner. And for the first time ever, I have control of the objective. Joss then attacks Barbaros, and I use my last Soul Stone to soak damage. I think Barbaros has about 3 wounds left at this point. It's not looking good for him next turn. So at the end of this turn, we get another point apiece, and I move the central marker even further to the left. I've got a desperate plan. Game time is running low. All I've got to do is kill that miner before time runs out and before Barbaros dies, and I'll win. It's not the best plan in the world, but it's all I've got. Turn 3. The Neverborn win the initiative. There's hope! The Nephilim with the head goes for broke and feasts on the miner. It does moderate damage, which is great, but it's just not quite enough to put it on its last wound. It's all on you, Barbaros. Just hold on. I forget which one of them attacked him. I think it was the cat, but I could be wrong. Whatever it was, I'm all out of soul stones, and it rips my head off. Barbaros goes down. I did attack the miner with the final Nephilim, but just before I was about to pick up the card to take off its last wound, the game ended. So I end this tournament without removing a single model from any of my opponents. And I cry inside. So, fun last game. My opponent was a really nice guy. He made sure to explain to me what was going on, and what his abilities did as he was jamming them down my throat, which I appreciate. And this game wound up being 6 to the Arcanists, 3 to the Neverborn. Well played, Joss, you unkillable son of a bitch. So that's it for the Henchman Hardcore mini tournament. Really had a great time here, and it was great to play so many people and try my Neverborn against so many different crews. I find the mechanics of Malifaux are really quite easy to pick up, but it's all the different tricks that each model can do that really adds huge depth and subtlety to the game, and the only way to really learn that seems to be to play. I found the 25-minute time limit really quite challenging, but the event as a whole was a really great experience, and I'd like to thank all the people that organised and played in it. The final results were that I came 5th out of 10 players. Hooray for me! However, 6 players were tied for 4th place, so on a technicality, I also came last. I didn't get a list of rankings, but I know the event was won by another Neverborn player with a crew led by the Hungering Darkness. So congratulations to him. But that's it guys, thanks for watching and take care.